Today we're going to replace wall outlets. Do it yourself with Malcolm. Super easy job to do, really it is. And it's not expensive to do either. I got a lot of echo in this room because I don't have a lot of stuff. But actually a little fun to FYI on this DIY. Well, let's get you looking at the plug here. The first thing I need you to do is go to the breaker box and kill the power to the room. If you don't want the power on when you're changing the outlets, should be pretty obvious, right? All right, let's get right to it. So here's the first outlet I'm going to use, or work on, I should say, and it's follow along. So let's get all this stuff off there. Now this house was built in 1990. I'm assuming these are the original plugs. It's not required to update them or change them out, but I'm going to do it anyway. I want a fresh look on it. And getting the plugs at your local hardware store, we'll say Lowe's or Home Depot as an example, they're only a couple of dollars a piece. So if you wanted to spruce up your room, hey Istanbul, if you wanted to spruce up your house and trying to give it a little bit more of a fresh look, you can change these out for just a few dollars. You get the right wall plate. I like the square design versus the round ones that were on here originally. I got the plate cover to go with that, and that matches it all. You only need a couple of tools to do this. Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver, one of each. And then you'll want one of these little guys. Now what this does is it plugs in here, and if there was electricity, I would see the lights light up. Okay? There's no electricity, so no lights are on there. I'm safe to open it up and get to work on it. After I change it out, and I put everything back together, turn the power back on, I'll come and test it again. And when I do put that in there, when it does have power, there's a little combination of lights that'll shine. And on this particular device, when both orange lights are lit up, that means I did it right. I have all my wiring correct. Everything's copacetic. If it says something other than if it has a red combination, there's all kinds of little listed things here, different possibilities, and it'll tell you how you've done your wiring wrong if that's the case. Who else we got here? We got Johnny. What's going on, Johnny? Changing out some outlets. So, yeah, this is quick and easy. It's really not that hard. The hardest part is getting up and off the floor for me. So, typically every one of them has a flathead screwdriver right here in the middle. Flathead screw, I should say. The new wall plates will have their own new screws, so there's no need to keep that screw. I am a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to little screws and stuff like this, because, I don't know, there's times I need one, and if I save it, who knows what I can use this little guy for. And it takes up no space. It's not like I'm hoarder, taking stacks of magazines and filling my house with them. It's just a couple little screws. So I'll set that off to the side. This is going to be garbage. It's plastic. It'll recycle, no problem. Hey guys, so not a big deal with that. Nothing's wrong with it. It's not cracked or anything, but it is kind of faded. It has some stains on it from who knows what from over the years. So that's going to end up being recycled. All right. Now this is definitely from 1990 because it still has flathead screws right here. The new ones are going to have Phillips head screws on them. So that's showing that I'm fairly confident that these are the original ones. Now, it's a lot easier to do this with a drill, obviously, because you can get the screws out a lot faster. But I don't have a flathead bit for my drill at this time. We'll just do it the good old-fashioned way. And I find it very hard to, they painted over this. They got paint with screw. The head of the screw's got paint in it. So I can't get my screwdriver in there good. I got to clean that out a little bit. Just scrape it out. We'll get that off of there. Now, I also have another tool with me, is a wire stripper tool in the event I need to do something with the wires. So let's pull this guy out, and here we go. Pardon the mess. So I'll go over the details of this real quick. I won't do this for every single plug, but yeah, you've got different wires. Your bare wire with no plastic on it, that's your ground wire. You should see that on every outlet. And then you have the neutral and the hot. White is neutral, black hot. Okay, that's typically how they are. That's the common way that wires are done here in the United States. Now there's two sets because each plug piggybacks off the other in the room, and have that continuous flow of electricity to all your outlets in one particular room and go off of one circuit breaker, you're going to see two sets of wires. So one's coming in and one's taken off to the next plug and so forth and so on. Okay. Now, here's some more details about wall outlets as well. I can use the screws on the side to fasten my wires on. We'll get into the details of that as well. Some of the older ones and newer ones too have little push buttons in there. So you could just have the wire inside there and it's supposed to hold it and you don't have to mess with these screws. It's kind of like a fast way to do it. The only downside is they're a pain in the rear to get undone. Now you should be able to take a small flathead screwdriver, pop it in there, and these wires come right out. Not a big deal. I'm not going to worry about that because I have lots of wire here to play with. And you should see a good little bit of wire in the event something got chipped or whatever, the plastic's damaged. Or in my case, I just want to cut it out of this plug because I don't want to fight with those little tabs getting that wire out. I'm just going to cut them off. Get in there and just snap them out and be done. I'm going to be losing about 1 inch of wire maybe. So we're just going to do it that way, save myself a lot of trouble, and then I can strip the wire back. So there we are. I just snipped it all off, as you can see there. Not a big deal. You really can't recycle these. You'd have to disassemble every little bit of it to truly recycle it because it has metal and copper and plastic. It's all mixed together. So that will unfortunately go to the landfill. Now, again, these are just, I'm going to do the push button type here, okay? So to prep that, I'm going to put these screws, I'm going to go ahead and tighten them into the outlet themselves so they're flush and not sticking out. It's not necessary, it's not required, it's just something I like to do. And a way to tell without actually looking at trying to read the imprint on the plastic, what wire goes where, I'll show you here in a second, a little trick that helps me remember which wire goes where on the plug itself. All right. So, here in the United States, English, black on brass, white on silver, ground green. So BB, black brass, white, green, green. It's all color coded. So if you get these, they're going to be color coded by the color of the screws, and that'll tell you which one goes where. All right? That's an easy way to decipher where I need to put my wires. There's a lot more that can be done to this for different applications. There's a little tab right there. See that little tab? I don't know if you can see that well. That little tab. If I snap that tab off, it'll separate these two plugs. If I snap it off on both sides, it'll separate these two plugs. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, if I wanted this top plug to be powered by a switch, say I had a lamp plugged in it, I walk in the door and flip the switch, I want the plug to give power to this one outlet only when I flip the switch. And I want the bottom one to always have electricity. So I can plug something else here, it's always got power, but then this would be connected to a wall switch, of which when I walk in, for example, I can flip the switch at the door and my fancy lamp will light up and I can see what's going on. So that's why you would break these tabs off. But it's, I can't go back now without ripping the walls apart to do something like that because the house wasn't wired that way. So if you're already in an existing home, the likelihood of you going back and forth and tearing these tabs off is highly unlikely. It's not going to happen. Now we want our wire to be straight as much as possible. And this is going to be 12 gauge wire. And on my stripper, we have notches for different sizes of wire. And I just want to get about a half, maybe not even a half an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch of wire exposed. Not much. I don't need a whole lot. And that's all I need. Now, I'm going to leave a little mess behind. I'll come back with a vacuum and get all these little plastic pieces later. Not worried about it. So I've got 4 wires to do this with. We're going to knock off just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a mile long, just enough to stab inside the outlet so it makes the connection. I have seen them where they strip them off way too much, in my opinion. Granted, nothing ever happened. You probably can get away with that if you're a professional electrician. And, you know, you're like, it's silly that I'm taking all these, you know, if you're in a hurry and you're wiring a house and you need to knock the stuff out, you'll probably knock off more of the plastic, less. I don't know. I don't really know. But anyway. All right, so we got our plug here. I need my white on the white and black on brass. I'm going to take this little guy here and I'm just going to stab it in the back of the plug. And it's not going to fit. Let's see here. Is that gauged? It's got, the plastic's not that great. And that's where your pliers will come in. If it's going to allow me to do it, I didn't double check these. Like I said, they're only a few dollars each. So you got to have to use a little force, get it in there. And it's not going to go. That's all right. We can do it the other way. Not a big deal. For some reason, the plastic holes aren't as big as they're supposed to be. I would have to go in and get those holes a little bigger to stab it in there. Like this would be for 14 gauge wire, which is a smaller gauge. That may be what these are for. I'm using 12 gauge wire, so I'm going to have to use the screws on the side. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. And just back these off a little bit. Doesn't have to be much. Now, again, there's a couple ways to do this too. Some people will wrap the wire around the screw. You don't have to do that either. You can just, there's a little here, a little plastic piece sticking out to hold your wire in place. So let's do that real quick. Let me straighten this guy out here because I got it twisted trying to shove it in the back of the outlet. All right. I would not recommend using a drill on this. You're just going to have to use a good old-fashioned screwdriver and get everything together like you want it. If you use a drill, it's just too bulky. You may over-tighten it. There's no need for that. And I got to cut this off some more. You can tell I don't do this all the time. And if you leave little scraps on the floor, to me, it's not that big of a deal. You can always come back later and sweep and vacuum. Unless you're on carpet, you might want to catch your little pieces, but I'm on hardwood, so it's going to be easy for me to clean up later. All right, where's my screwdriver? I got it in there. I don't know if you can see it. That little plastic tab's keeping my wire from moving around when I tighten it down. And I'm going to tighten it down. Now, I don't have to torque this so hard that the Incredible Hulk has to come back and undo it. I just need it firm enough to hold the wire. That's all I need. You just got to make that connection. Now this wire is very stiff, so I'm kind of fighting it a little bit. That's okay. After you do a couple of them, it's not that big of a deal. Now it doesn't matter if I do this one on top or the bottom. They're going to be connected as one. So it doesn't really matter. Just get them in there where they belong and tighten them down. Now if I was splitting it, like I said earlier, for like a light switch or something, then I would have to know which wire's which for my light switch on the wall, but that is not the case for this application. So we're just going to get this hooked together. I am struggling in front of you guys really bad. I'm not reading your comments. I'm just going through the motions here. I'll catch up with the comments after I get one done. See if you guys have any questions. Feel free to throw them in the chat. Istanbul's one of my moderators. If she's still watching and she thinks you have a very valid question, she can pin that comment in the chat stream for me, and then I can look at it here in a minute and see if I can answer somebody's question. And I think I got somebody else, Johnny Bravo's a moderator as well. So I got some help on the line. Now this has got a lot of paint on it, and you want a good connection. I'm not sure why it has all this paint on it. It's not helping the connection of the wire at all. But here we go. And I can use the Phillips head screwdriver on this too, but for some reason, and I don't know, I'm sure there's an answer on Google, but the screw for the grounding wire is different Phillips head type than the other ones. And the Phillips head screwdriver doesn't really fit in there that well. I don't know why they did it different. They just did. Let's see what we got going on here. Everybody's just chatting away. Ramesh is here. Hey, Ramesh, how's it going, man? So we're putting this outlet in there. Now, as you can see, the wire was folded to get it in there. You're not going to hurt it. Just get it in there. It's going to fold again, like so. And then you just kind of shove it all in there. All right, it was in there before. It'll go in there again. Not a big deal. I like to get the first one started and then work on the bottom one. And once I get both of them started, I can tighten it down and get it nice and snug. Now you got these little flaps here. They're going to hit the sheetrock and keep the outlet flush with the wall so that it doesn't look like it's all crooked or warped or whatever else once you put the cover on it. Now I've got a plug over here we're going to go to in a minute that has the USB ports on it. We'll be able to hook that guy up so that I can plug in my cell phone or something else without having to carry around that extra block to plug my stuff in. And there's a lot to choose from as far as those are concerned as well. But I'll tell you what I chose and why I chose it in just a minute, and save yourself some money if you find yourself in the position that you wanted to do this in your home too. All right. And there you go. It just kind of fits in there. No big deal. And it doesn't have to be torqued down. You don't have to get it so tight. You're just holding a little plastic cover on there. No need to get crazy with it. But there you go. Brand new outlet. It looked like this, and now it looks like this. Nice and clean. Now, some outlets, over time, the sheetrock's been damaged around it and the hole's bigger. This is just a standard plate. I kind of took a chance on it because the other ones are inevitably exposed. But basically, you can get these that are a little bit wider, a little bit taller, to cover the sheetrock in the event it got chipped away or damaged over time. Other people not doing what they're supposed to mess it up. You can get a bigger cover to make sure you cover up all the sheetrock and not have anything exposed. So little munchkins, if you got them running around, don't stick something in there, so forth and so on. So we'll come back and turn power on, but I still do not have power, as you can see. But when I flip the breaker, we'll come around and we'll test them real quick. Also, I have this device which tests live wires. Well, you just turn it on next to the wire. If it detects the magnetic pulse of the wire, I don't know, I think it's getting static. But you can test it like this and see if it has electricity or not. This is mostly for exposed wire that's out there. This is what you're going to really want to use. This is a lot easier, a lot simpler. You kind of got to know what you're doing with this guy. It looks simple, but it can fool you with static and things like that too. It's very sensitive. So this is what we're going to do. All right. So I've already gone around and dropped off all the plugs I want to use, and we're going to move on to the next one. Like I said, getting up and down is going to be the hardest part. Here's this one. Got my TV plugged in. Like that. All right, I'm going to put this up here. Now that I've explained all that, I don't have to really explain much more. I just need to go through the motions. Take that off. I don't care if I scratch this old one. Go ahead and get rid of it. Stuck on there with a little bit of paint. If it is stuck with paint, just get a flathead screwdriver and kind of just pop it out. It'll pop right off. Not a problem. Now I've got, this is the first room I'm starting this on. And eventually I'm going to do every room in the house and have them all plugs. Each room will have one with USB ports on it. So I have to kind of decide where I want that particular plug to be. I did not want every plug to have USB ports on it because that can be expensive. Those plugs can be anywhere from $20 to $60 depending on what type of a USB outlet you want on your wall. So It's got spider webs in there and stuff. And I'll be cutting all of these evidently because they punched in the back of all of these. Now these work perfectly fine. It's not about functionality. I just wanted to update the plugs, make them look nice. You know, that is my whole purpose. There's that guy. Gauge wire, little dab will do you. Just pop that off, clean up later. Thanks for joining me this morning, guys. I appreciate that. Our little coffee session went well as always. That was fun. Look at you guys. Terry, what's going on, Terry? Thanks for joining me, man. Hanging out here. I'll check the comments after each plug. How about that? When I switch and go to the next plug, I'll check out the comments, see what you guys have to say. I still don't know how to make the comments read aloud, which I think would be super cool. Then I could just, you guys would technically be talking to me out loud if I could get the phone to read the comments off for me. But I don't know if it'll do it. You'd think with all this modern technology, we could figure that out, right? Now, without all the chatter and explaining going on, this only takes a couple of minutes. Only takes a couple of minutes. And you do want to get all these plugged up. Now, if you're in a really old home and it's missing one of these wires or something like that, you may want to consult an electrician or something like that. I can't get into all the details of different ways to do all that. Always a video from YouTube for that kind of stuff as well. But as long as you flip the breaker, anybody can do this. You just need 3 tools: flathead, Phillips head, and a wire stripper. And the ability to shove the wire back in there, unlike me. Now these boxes that are in the wall that I'm screwing into, they're plastic. And that's going to be common for almost every house. I'm saying that because you don't want to torque it down and strip that plastic and then your plug's flopping around. So when you go and put these screws in there, just get them nice and snug. There's no need to go crazy with it. Because if you strip that plastic out, you're going to have a floppy plug and it's going to look bad. And you can have room to wiggle it left and right, kind of line it up nice and straight. Cobwebs everywhere. You know, the screws should just line up pretty easily. I just wish they were a Phillips head so I can use my drill. Get on there, you bastard. And sometimes I have difficulty matching the outlet here, getting it lined up, and getting it started. I got it good on the last one. There we go. Ta-da! easy peasy. On to the next one. Get ready to look at some comments. Floppy plug. How do I keep the house warm? I have gas heat. I have a furnace that burns natural gas with a blower on it. Natural heat in there. It's very common here in the States. Yeah, wire strippers. And they are actually stripping stuff off the wire. So, you know, the term stripper is a legitimate term for the plug. All right, now we're coming up to one that I want to put my USB lid on. Let's see here. You can see this plug wasn't even it's barely holding on to the plug. It's just loose. A new one's going to really be snug and really hold that plug in there, and I don't have to worry about it wiggling out for some reason or getting loose. And this one's real floppy. Look at all that movement I got in there. Now, it's possible I may uncover some tragedy behind one of these plugs that's been hidden, I don't know. And it's just they didn't really tighten this one down, which is fine. They left it really loose, which didn't really hurt anything. No shorts. It's not burning the house down or anything like that, so. Come on, bastard. That's that. Get our wires prepped. Now this USB one's going to be a little different. I'll show you in a minute why. Come on. Sorry, dog. My stripper is not pulling the plastic off for some reason. Damn. That plastic will not come off of there. That's odd. All right. This is unusual to have this much difficulty getting the plastic off the wire. It feels like the plastic's melted to the wire in a way, which is not a good sign. I don't see any burn marks inside the outlet. The plastic should come off the wire pretty easy, but this stuff is like melted to the copper. I don't see nothing looks burned or charred or anything like that. I don't know. We're going to keep on marching though. And it was just that one wire. It's coming off pretty easy. All right. Let's open up our plug. Plugs everything. They all come with instructions if you don't know what you're doing. Please use safety glasses. This is for educational purposes only. I do not endorse anyone doing this on their own. If you get hurt, it's your own fault. Yada, yada, yada. I'm not a licensed electrician, and I cannot affirm or deny any facts or claims that I had regarding doing this job. You think that'll work as a disclaimer? Oh, I gotta get stretched out here. This is hard for me. So, with the USB plug, it only has screws on one side. It's got a lot going on back here. It takes up a lot more room too. So, but I still have the silver and brass. Silver and brass. So my white wires will go on the silver, my black on the brass, and there's my green ground. The difficult part is going to be putting all this, as you can see, the different in thickness. Let's get to the camera there. See how much thicker this one is than the old one? You don't have a lot of room inside there sometimes. Most of the time you don't. So it's going to feel like it's super hard to get back in there. It's just you're trying to get that wire to fold on itself and get in the back of the plug. You do not want to cut this wire too short. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you cut this wire too short, you are screwed. You're only hurting yourself. When they build a house and they run the wire for these plugs, they leave this excess. In the event you have to trim it just a little bit off or whatever, you've got excess to work with. But if you trim this thing down short, you're going to play like hell to get something else in there. If you get it too short, you would have to rip the wall apart to get fresh wire ran in here, and you don't want to do that. Do not cut it too short. Deal with the excess, cram it back in there, fold it over. It's not going to hurt it. But yeah, just keep that in mind if you're doing this too. Don't cut it. Don't cut it all the way down here. It's like, well, I got all this extra wire. Blah. Keep the wire. Do not cut it all off. Size matters, as Dustin said. Hey, Dustin, I haven't seen you on here in a while. Dustin's one of my old Army buddies. One of my old Army buddies. He's in some of my old Army videos. That's on YouTube still. All right, so I have room. I'll put both wires on the plug. It's designed that way. I can do that. So I can get both wires on where they belong. I don't have to do any fancy work. I'm just putting everything on one screw instead of separating it on two different screws. And again, I'm not torquing it down. I'm just getting it nice and snug. You're not going to hurt this wire. It's going to hurt you before you hurt it. So don't be afraid to kind of bend it and force it to go where you want it to go. You're not going to break it. Unless you start getting just wild and crazy, you would have to, you'd have to want to mess the wire up if you're going to mess it up. If you're just doing your job, you're not going to hurt anything. Okay? Now my ground wire, it's got to go back here. And a lot of times your ground wire is not going to be as long as the other ones that are in the outlet for you. But anyway. All right. So there's that. Now, I chose the old USB-A. Now, you can get the new ones that have the USB-C on both sides, but you're going to spend about $50 for it. And not everything I have that I want to plug in the wall has that little USB-C on both ends of the wire. So I went with the USB-A, which has been out for a while, and I can get this plug for about $18 versus buying one that has the C's that can push $60. You could buy a lot of USB cables for $40. So I went with this traditional USB-A. It's been around for a while, and that's why they're cheaper. This is, the older style, if you will. But yeah, you can get them with one USB-A, one USB-C, all different types of combinations, and you'll pay accordingly for that. So, let's see here. But I went with the USB-A. Get it started. Go to the next one, get it started too. This part you could use a drill. expedite things a little bit more, but I didn't bother this time. Normally I would. I would use my drill at every opportunity. Anyway, I can't get comfortable on this floor. My knees start hurting. I'm old. I'm just I'm getting the wire to take shape behind the plug and just kind of pushing on it. Again, you're not going to hurt anything, okay? It's just the wire folding on itself. Everything should be just fine. Okay. Where's my cover? Now, I'm always doing these square body styles, so I've got the same type of cover on every one of them. They're all going to look the same. Now this guy sticks out. It doesn't lay flush with the wall plate. It's just a different type of plug. It's got a lot more going on. So you can have all this going on at the same time. It's just a bigger plug with a lot more stuff going on behind the scenes. And that's why it steps out. Now you can get some that do completely flush, or you can get a wall plate that kind of sticks out more, makes it look flush. You have options out there for that. But I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to let it stick out. That's just my personal preference. So, as we go around, I am technically entering another room. So I need to double check this plug for power as well to make sure that I have still got the power out. And there's no power. So that's good. And we'll get going on to the next one. You guys doing okay over there? Malcolm advice. Who's it? Nixon, man. I haven't seen you in a long time either, man. How's it going? How's it going? We're changing all outlets here. Something I've been wanting to do for a while. And, I've only been here a couple of weeks, but I wanted to get these changed out. It just looks better. It gives it a fresh look. Modernize it a little bit. Now, if you get into, I will be doing the plugs in the kitchen and the bathroom eventually, and you have to get those CFGI plugs that have the little trip button inside them in case there's water or something like that. I do not have those, so I'm not doing those today. But same principle applies. It's gonna be a bigger plug, kind of like the USB one. There's tape in this screw, that's why it's messing me up. Not tape, paint. I can't get my screwdriver all the way in there. Anyway, somebody is not a good painter and painted over the plug and the wire and everything. Screws, plug, as you can see, they're tan, they're ivory color, if you will. That was pretty common in the late 90s, or in the 90s and 80s. A lot of them had the tan. Not sure why it was just tan. It didn't have all the color options. Now you can get tan, black, brown, all different types of colors for your plug. Now this one is not connected to another plug in the room, so it only has one set of wires. I think technically this is the dining room and there's only one plug. It doesn't affect our job though. We'll just put one wire on each side, throw it back in there, Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. Alright. I got a song stuck in my head, Tom Petty song, Honeybee. Heard it on the radio yesterday. I haven't listened to the radio or watched TV at all today. I went back to bed and slept a little bit after my morning Coffee with Malcolm for Sunday. Took myself a little nap. And I haven't driven anywhere, so I haven't been listening to the radio. I still got the same song, Tom Petty, Honeybee, in my head. So yeah. Okay, that didn't stick in there like I wanted it to. Once you do a couple of them, you kind of breeze through them after you do a couple. Now, I've done these plenty of times before. I'm very confident that I'm going to have my wiring correct, so I go ahead and put the wall plate on them. You can always put the wall plate cover on afterwards, after you double check your work. Some people would go as far as to not even put it in the wall at all, have it hanging out, flip the breaker back on, put this little tester on, and then go through going back and forth on the breaker, turning the power to the room on and off over and over again. If you're concerned about it and you want to make sure it's right, by all means do so. And I'm just leaving a trail of mess behind me. Trail of garbage. I'll go back and clean it. I'm not going to clean up as I go. To me, it just seems kind of silly. I'm going to do it all at once. All right. Onward! I would suggest waiting to plug things back in until you can go around and test them all. I don't think you're going to fry anything, but you want your wires, you want your test to be correct, your installation to be correct. That's my robot vacuum. All right. Am I missing anything, guys? I'm just drumming along, doing my own thing here. Let's see what you guys have to say. Baller shot caller, huh? Okay, you guys are just kind of watching me do my thing. That's cool. Yeah, I got a new table and chairs, a new recliner. It wasn't that much, really. I got something good that's going to last me a long time. I could have shopped around and bought some used stuff from around the town or whatever. I had the ability to get some new stuff. I decided to get some stuff that's going to last. So, yeah. That was painted to the wall. They just took the roller and just rolled right over the whole thing. There's all that paint. Oh, man. They just painted right over the whole thing. It'll be all right. You want it white? There it is. It's white now. I'm going to do two more, and we'll flip the power on and check our work. Flip the power on in the living room and see what's going on. I didn't even check to see if this is hot or not. It's not. Okay. I'm just going along. I'm going to shock myself. Do-da, do-da. If you plan on doing this stuff, it always pays to get a nice tool. Don't buy something from like what we have here called Harbor Freight and things like that. Just spend a few more dollars. Get a name brand tool. It's going to last you. It's not going to fall apart on you and give you trouble. You can save a few bucks, but you're going to end up buying it over and over again. So in the long run, are you really saving anything? Going, rolling, rolling, rolling. Being difficult on me here. Mary, if she's still in the chat, she does gig work as well and live streams her life on the road doing gig work, DoorDash, Instacart, numerous other things. Really cool lady. Really cool, laid back, chill. No drama kind of person. It's kind of like the YouTube family. We kind of look out for each other and endorse each other and give shout outs to each other, you know. If you haven't, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Little thumbs up there. Or if you don't like it, you can always hit the three little dots in the top right hand corner and find the thumbs down button. I wouldn't imagine why you'd want to do thumbs down, but you could. They make you work for a thumbs down. You can't just tap it, which is good because you'd have people just rolling around thumbs downing everybody. Because we got nothing else better to do in their lives. All right, a little technical difficulty here. I didn't fasten that in properly, and one of my wires popped loose. Good thing it happened now and not later. I didn't tighten it down enough. Try that again. I'm gonna take this sweater off. I'm getting hot. It's getting hot in here, so take off that sweater. If you're just joining us, we're changing out wall outlets. The cost per outlet, I would say, probably run you about $4 altogether, depending on where you buy your stuff. So for $4, if you already have the tools, do this. You could just, about $4 a plug. And if you buy them in boxes of 10, you'll save. And that's what they have a contractor box for people who build houses and do electrical work for a living. You can get these bulk boxes of the cover plates and the outlets and all that stuff, and you'll save money on that too. So if you plan on doing a bunch of them, go ahead and get the 10 pack. You're going to save money. But a lot of people, I would say, are buying just one plug for whatever reason and not needing a whole 10 pack like me or somebody that does it for a living. So. We'll do one more, then we'll cross our fingers and flip the breaker back on. There's my table. Table and chair set. I like it. Now I just got to have somebody to eat dinner with me. And then there's my recliner. I don't have a couch, just the recliner. It's only me. I'm thinking about putting a USB plug on this one. I had an extra one. It's by the front door. At some point, I'll probably have some kind of table against this wall, and I may want to like have my phone or something else plugged in. So I bought these in a pack as well, so that's why I have an extra one. I bought these in a 10 pack, saved myself a bunch of money that way too. So this one's going to be a USB plug. Whew. All right, I had to take that sweater off, it's burning up. And here. There's my little tester. No power, we're safe. No fried Malcolm today. What we got going on here? Got the guns out? Yeah, sure. It's just me. I got the recliner. You know, I don't expect to have any company. I will eventually probably get another recliner or a little or a love seat or something small. I don't want big. I don't want to fill my house up every square inch with a bunch of stuff. I like to keep it open. I don't want to clutter it. That does result in a lot of echo in the background when I'm talking. But, you know, I'll get some stuff on the walls, maybe a picture or two if I find something that I like. I don't know. I don't know. Haven't gotten there. Got all the time in the world. Not worried about it. About 1/4 of an inch. That's all you need off there. If you're using the metric system, I can't help you. Sorry. I'm just a dumb American. So, there we go. Getting her done. Getting her done. Ta-da. No bad. Gotta get the right screwdriver here. I'm trying to contort myself. This wire is not cooperating with me. Get in there, you sorry dog. Yeah, they literally painted over every single, you're not even seeing what I'm doing. They're literally painting over every single one of these plugs. That's just, I don't know, that's just laziness. It's one little screw, you take the wall plate off. The wall plate, if you did paint over it, it's like 50 cents. It's nothing. It costs nothing. So, I don't know. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. They literally just painted over the entire plug. This house was all painted before I moved in. They painted all the walls white, and they pretty much painted over everything. They didn't paint over the light switches though. They went around them. I guess to like screw the plugs, you know. We're almost there, guys. Ladies and germs. I'm going to go turn the power on and see if this place blows up or not. Yay! Amber lights. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. We go around and check all these other ones. And while you got your stuff out, just go around and test it. Make sure that everything's working like it should. Before you put all your stuff away. And have to take it all apart again. We did good, guys. Did good. Yeah, there. All right, so we did it. That's about an hour-long video. That's pretty good. My hair is all over the place as usual, but we did it. We changed the plugs out. Got all that done. Here, I'm going to be doing the light switches. Look at this. What is this? I'm changing the light switches to this like rocker for my light switches. They're pretty cheap too. You get those in a box of 10 as well. Here's the plugs in a box of 10. Save a bunch of money that way. But yeah, eventually, now I have to get the wall plates for these for the light switches. I don't have those wall plates. But not a big deal. There you go. There's a little dry run on how to change your outlets on your walls. Update them. If they're loose and stuff just kind of falls out of the plug, change it. It's $3 or $4, and that's a small price to pay versus causing an electric fire. So, and it only took 3 different tools, a couple of screwdrivers and the wire cutters. So easy peasy, right? And you got this hour-long video of me rambling about it to teach you on the way. So there you go. That's this video. Do it yourself with Malcolm, DIY with Malcolm. Hope you guys liked it. I'm probably going to wait till tomorrow and do some more. Do a little bit each day. I'm not going to try to knock it all one day. But you guys are awesome. Again, as always, good to see you. I'll be on tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with Coffee with Malcolm. If you're watching this and don't know, check out the channel. I got all kinds of stuff going on the channel. But yeah, you guys have a great day. Like, subscribe, share, and have yourself a great day or evening or morning or wherever you may be around the world. Bye, guys.